Zoro is an extremely skilled and talented swordsman, training at the Isshin Dojo in Shimotsuki Village from childhood. He was able to consistently defeat adult swordsmen in duels, while 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞 being the one person he couldn't beat. After reaching adulthood, he became a famous swordsman. Three-sword style is Zoro's main style of sword fighting. Unusual for a human, he wields three swords simultaneously, holding one in each hand and one in his mouth. Many of Zoro's three-sword style attacks use all three of the blades to strike opponents, cutting them numerous times, or cutting multiple opponents at the same time. Zoro's sword techniques are powerful, but also quite wasteful. To maximize his power, he had to wield three swords at the same time. Here are some swords used by Zoro in battle. As one of the masterpieces of the legendary Wano swordsmith Shimotsuki 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞𝐧𝐬𝐞, and given to Zoro 11 years ago by 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜's father, 𝐻YPEKAGE is among the world's most powerful swords, classified as one of the 21 great grade swords. Tashiki described it as a magnificent katana of the highest caliber. More than anything, 𝐻YPEKAGE holds a great deal of significance to Zoro. Though he'd allow others to examine it, he refuses to ever give this blade up to anyone. Zoro prefers to place 𝐻YPEKAGE in his mouth when using his three-sword style, though prior to the time skip, he uses it when using his one-sword style in some battles. After the time skip, he appears to favor Shusui when using his one-sword style. It is extraordinarily durable, all without being imbued with haki, withstanding a strike from 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞𝐧𝐬𝐞, which shattered his two ungraded swords. After the time skip, from his improved strength and skills, as well as using armament haki, 𝐻YPEKAGE's power and defense can be amplified to the point of being able to cut down Pika at his gigantic form several times, before he cut him down completely coated in haki. As the creation of 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞𝐧𝐬𝐞, one of Wano's greatest swordsmiths, Sundai Kitetsu has both superior qualities and strength compared to other swords, despite being a Meito among the lowest grades. Like all of the swords crafted by members of the Kitetsu school, this one is said to be cursed and will bring a horrible death to all of its owners. Zoro senses it was cursed, something that allowed him to feel when the sword was nearby. Sundai Kitetsu is most regarded for his great sharpness, making it far easier for slicing things, as highlighted when Zoro decided to test his luck against his curse with his previous owner. He could cut a sea train carriage in half, as well as being durable enough to block blows from Kaku's Zone Devil Fruit enhanced Rokushiki techniques. During the raid on Onigashima, Sundai Kitetsu was durable enough to withstand Kaido and Big Mom's combined technique without damage. Alongside 𝐻YPEKAGE, and Enma was able to give Kaido a permanent scar. After being infused with Conqueror and armament haki, it could deal significant damage. King, a Lunarian known for being vulnerable. Enma is among the best swords in the world. Kazuki Sukiyaki has described Enma as able to cut through to the bottom of hell. 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐴 himself deemed Enma to be his best masterpiece in comparison to all his other creations, including 𝐻YPEKAGE. Enma has the distinct trait of releasing his wielder's armament haki, otherwise known as Ryuo in Wano, in excessive amounts, cutting more than intended. As such, it has become infamous as a sword impossible to wield and master, so much so that no one aside from Kazuki Oden could tame Enma. After testing it out, Zoro cut off a cliffside, despite intending to cut down a tree, because Enma forced hardening while emaciating his right arm. However, his mastery of armament haki allowed him to retake his haki during the battle on Onigashima. Kaido has sensed a strange haki emanating from Enma, producing a flame-like aura whenever Zoro started releasing his power. It worried Big Mom, who even warned Kaido to dodge. According to Sukiyaki, if Zoro were to succeed in making Enma a permanent black blade, it may increase in rank, suggesting that it may become a supreme grade sword. As one of the 50 skillful grade swords, Yubashiri was a very powerful sword, its greatest attribute being its extremely lightweight. With Zoro remarked that it was a nice katana after seeing how easy it was to use. Yubashiri has shown extraordinary strength and sharpness, as Zoro can use it to cut a sea train carriage in half alongside Sundai Kitetsu when performing Rashomon. Yubashiri also has exceptional durability, as it could defend against extremely powerful attacks, such as Kaku's Zone Devil Fruit enhanced Rokushiki techniques. It was only destroyed due to rusting power of Sabi Sabi no Mi. As one of the 21 great grade swords, 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐞 is one of the finest swords in the world, being a national treasure of Wano, and also the signature weapon of the legendary samurai 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞𝐬𝐞, which became a permanent black blade in his hands. 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜 is designed to increase both the damage potential and destructive power of the user to a tremendous extent, as was first demonstrated when Zoro used 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜 against Oars. Zoro noted that had his battle with Ryuma continued, 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜 would have broken both 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐞𝐬𝐞 and even Wado 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐞. After training with Hawkeye for 2 years, 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜 has become Zoro's favorite blade. In Wano, the sword was stolen by 𝐾𝐢𝐜𝐜 and returned to Ryuma's grave. When Zoro was training, 𝐻𝐜𝐜𝐜 gave the 2 katanas to Zoro. These 2 swords have accompanied him along with Wado 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐞, but when the duel with Hawkeye, both of these swords were destroyed. After losing his swords to Hawkeye, Zoro was forced to find a quick replacement in order to pull off the 3-sword style. When the crew was busy fighting at Arlong Park, Zoro temporarily borrowed Johnny and Yosaku's blades. These 2 weapons are more commonly known as the Nakiri swords. He was seen using these swords against Hachi. Although Zoro did struggle for a short while against the octopus fisherman, it was because the wound that Hawkeye gave him was still fresh. As a result of Zoro's carelessness, the wound ended up opening during this battle. This sword was once used by Zoro to replace Yubashiri, who was destroyed by Shu. Roronoa Zoro found himself in trouble moments into the Wano Country arc, where he was framed for murder. Asked to kill himself by committing seppuku, Zoro was given a short blade without a tanto. As expected, instead of killing himself, Zoro used this blade to slaughter everyone in his path, including the actual culprit, the magistrate. Zoro's control over this seppuku blade was magnificent, despite it being very short and hard to handle. He could even use haki on this blade, further strengthening his powers. That said, seppuku swords have limited applicability and aren't really beneficial in terms of battle. Once again, Zoro found himself 1 sword short in the Wano Country arc when 𝐾𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐜 stole 𝐋𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐜 from him. While trying to get his sword back, Zoro was intercepted by a man known as Kamazo the Manslayer, who later turned out to be none other than Killer of the Kid Pirates. To finish him off, Zoro took possession of one of Kamazo's scythes and used it to perform a purgatory onigiri, ultimately slicing through his enemy. However, Zoro lost too much blood during the fight and ended up passing out in the process. Apart from that, there are 2 other swords that Zoro has used. The bamboo sword he used while training at the dojo, and Hana Arashi, the Yubashiri sword held by Usopp while he was handcuffed with him.